Hey, good afternoon, good morning, whatever this may be for you. This is Professor David Howard with LeTourneau University, and this is United States History 1. And this is from the early time, about the time of Native Americans through 1877 in North American continent of what we now know as the United States. So anyway, welcome to class. So glad that you're here. So glad we're going to be taking this journey together this semester. And so I want to just spend a little bit of time just to kind of let you know who I am, kind of let you know a little bit about the course. So a lot of times people ask about history and how people can have different perspectives or whatever, and we see this in our society today. And I think history is more important in our society today because it helps us understand who we are as a country and helps understand the different perspectives that may have occurred throughout time. And you go, well, history is history, right? So we all know that, July the 4th, the Declaration of Independence. So, I'll often ask people, people will say, well, history's history. And I go, well, there are more than one idea, more than one perspective on history oftentimes. And I go, for instance, did July the 4th happen in England? And they go, or does England have a July the 4th? And they'll go, no. And I go, yes, they do have a July the 4th. It's just that England perceives the July the 4th that we're talking about as a rebellion, as these petulant colonists over there that little rebels and renegades, and so these upstarts over there. Well, here in the United States, we look at it as a revolution, somebody that overthrew oppression and fought against tyranny and fought for liberty and fought for what I think is just an incredible form of government. We sit here and do, America was the first one to develop a constitutional form of democracy in all of world history. We are also the first place in world history to really develop true religious liberty and then back it up with a constitution. Now, some people will say, well, Genghis Khan, of the Mongolians, he provided, religious liberty. Well, he did, but he didn't back it up with a constitution, not the way that the United States did. And so we have this true democratic government. We have religious liberty, and then what Eric Foner, he's a historian from Columbia University, and he has over 80 books to his name that he's written. All right, so quite a voice, and he talks about America as a cry for liberty. So when we throw around these words, liberty and freedom, I always want to point out that it's not necessarily free to do as we want, but because freedom, the other side of that coin, is responsibility. Jesus, tells us to love our neighbor as ourselves, to love God, love our neighbor as ourselves. But then as we love ourselves, then we're able to love other people too. So yes, we look to ourselves and we get ourselves in shape, in line with our relationship with God. And then secondly, we have a responsibility to our society and to our culture. And so with that other side of the coin of freedom, because, Jesus talks about freedom himself. He talks about spiritual freedom, and that the truth will set you free and you shall be free indeed. And so, yes, Jesus talks about freedom, but he also talks about responsibility to others as well. And so I think that's what we have in a lot of times in our society. Now, we have a very combative society today. I mean, we're tense, we're suspicious, people want to be vindictive, chatting back and forth on social media and everything else like that. And I don't necessarily think the bickering is as much of, I think it's more of a symptom rather than a cause. And I think in our society today, probably what the role that social media plays is it requires us, or it invites us, doesn't require us, it invites us to make very quick, hasty decisions, develop our opinions and attitudes in a very, very quick fashion without really giving significant researched thought to it. And so I hope that's what we do in American history today. We kind of explore that, a little bit. And so I want to introduce the course, talk about that a little bit in this video, kind of talk through the syllabus some, and then there's point you to a couple of other things that you'll want to do this week. All right. So let me throw up a little thing here. All right, and let's go to the PowerPoint. And let's just kind of take a look at that a little bit. All right, so this is me. It's not quite a mug shot, but getting close to it. All right, so my background, Bachelor of Arts in Religion and Psychology. I did a Master of Arts in Church History and Theology, and then PhD in the History of Ideas. Now you see, well, he's Religion and Psychology. Well, not long after I graduated from East Texas Baptist College in 1983, I started taking courses. Took one course, United States and the History of World War II. Another course, Church History. Another course, the History of Russia. Another course, the History of the American South. And these things just kind of opened my eyes up to the world in a way that I had never seen before. When I was at seminary, I started doing research on, how Baptists and how Christians failed to respond to the issue of slavery in our country. How could we defend that? So I started looking at that. So now I'm working on a PhD in the history of ideas. I'm writing a dissertation, and so while you're doing research and while you're writing and you're doing homework, guess what? So am I. We're in it together, all right? So anyhow, we'll work on that together. All right, so a little bit about me. How did I really get interested in history? Well, this is a couple of tools that may have been in my classroom back when I was in high school. My football coach said, don't bring your books. We're not going to do anything all year long. We didn't for the first grading period, and then the valedictorian complained against that. And guess what? She didn't like it that everybody in the class got a 95. And so, because she was fighting to be valedictorian, I understand that. But as a sophomore in world history, oh man, this was the best thing. However, principal, superintendent, school board, people like that got word of it. Coach said, well, you better start bringing your books because we're going to start to work. First thing he did, that little map over there on the right, one like that, about 10 feet by 10 feet, pulled it down, put it on the floor, and we played Risk. We divided up into teams, and we were different countries around Europe and America, and we got into World War II. And we played that game for several, at least 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And as we played that game each day in class, and as people made decisions, then Coach would start saying, he showed how much history he knew. He was brilliant. And he just started saying, well, that's very similar to how that country did this, and how these different countries. Well, Germany would have done this, France would have done this. Why did you do that? And so we started learning about it. And really, what we were doing, we're just trying to win the game. And I was amazed at how we as friends would stab each other in the back and challenge each other and form secret treaties with somebody else on the other side of the room, when we weren't in class. And so we strategized on that, and so it kind of got me hooked into how people shape the world. And so that's something that I think is really important for us to consider. And then, that's one of the things that I think is really important for us. So what are some things you need to do first? Number one, you need to complete the personal introduction of the class, all right? Post a little picture, say a little bit about yourself, post that in there. Secondly, watch the course introduction video. You're doing that now, all right? So you're already doing number two. Third thing, in the announcement section of the course, and that's where I'm going to try to communicate mostly is through announcements. So whenever you get on, look to see if there is an announcement. What you want to do too is if you download Canvas, download the course on your phone or on your device, your computer, then you also want to set your settings so that you get reminders on on that. All right, you want to open that up and do that, so it'll give you a reminder that there's an announcement or an email or something like that. So always check for that communication in class every time you get on. Now, these videos, 2 videos on there. One, Frank Sinatra. He is, 1945, 1950, classical, not classical, but a, kind of this jazz singer type of guy. Not really so much jazz, but just kind of a soft vocalist. And so he sings a song on there, The House I Live In. And it's about America, and he has this very idealistic view of what America is. And then I have posted another video you may be aware of, the video from the newsroom, the very first take on the newsroom. Now, the version I have has edited out all the profanity, so it's a clean version. You can watch it. But man, he does not have a Frank Sinatra view of America, all right? And so listen to both of those videos. It'll probably take you about 10-15 minutes to do both of those. Give it a little thought. You feel like it, this is not an assignment, but give some feedback. Kind of engage with the class, all right? Now, then you also are going to want to watch the citation video, okay? You're going to want to do that. And you're going to want to make sure that anything that you do throughout the course, and I'll talk about it more later, but the appropriate citation. And then review the syllabus and the acceptance. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take a moment to kind of review the syllabus, all right? And so let's do that. You can see here, I can scroll up and down through there, and you can see what's there. All right, you can see the different. That's how it's set up. Of course, everything links to week 1 activities. I have a couple of things on there already. There's a little PowerPoint video that you can not a PowerPoint, but crash course video there that you can look at. That you'll want to look at too. All right, and so there's overview and a lecture that is going to be there later tonight. You'll have the interactive assessment on there as well, and so you're going to want to look down through there. So a couple of things. That's all your assignments. That's where you can always go to that. The rubrics. Everything will be graded by a rubric. And you can see there all the rubrics will be listed. Interactive assessment grading rubric. All these rubrics are also posted on the assignment. So when you get onto the assignment, you'll want to do that. All right. So so you'll see those rubrics, and then I'll go back, and the other section that you want to pay close attention to are the class policies. Notice the textbook. It's an online textbook and free for you. One of my PhD professors, one of my people on my committee that will grade my dissertation, he's one of the authors of that book. So it's a great book. Also, class policies, you want to take a look at that, late assignments, technology requirements, final grading, faith component. LeTourneau makes no bones about it. We are a Christian university that integrates our faith with that. But we also want to integrate in this course, we're going to integrate accurate historical evidence as well. All right, so next thing, APA style. We'll talk about that in another video. You'll get that, and then you'll have email communications on the course as well. All right, so let's go back to the PowerPoint and catch a couple more things here. Here we go. All right. So interactive assessments. This is going to be weekly posting in the class. This is going to be a discussion with classmates. All right, it's online, but this is our discussion in the class. So we don't need real long posts. The very first post, if you do 150 to 200 words, And really just and you cite your sources. The first post, you really need to cite your sources. And then your first post also needs to be by Thursday at 11:59, okay? So this will make sure that everybody has a chance to see your post and has an opportunity to comment on that as well, all right? Again, look at the rubric and the syllabus. And you're going to have to post before you can see other people's posts, all right? So you may say the same thing that somebody else does. So read through everybody's post as you get on there, especially later in the week. You're going to, after Thursday, you're going to want to go back in there and you're going to respond to, a couple or three others. With your initial post, you may want to ask a question, basically, kind of conclude it or kind of leave a question for us to think about based on your post. Maybe you have something kind of insightful. Some professors will require that you post a question at the end of your first post. I think that becomes a little pedantic of sorts, And so what I would really rather, if you have a question, you made your post and then you have a question, then post a question. If you want to move the class in a particular direction, yes, post that question, all right? All right, so you also want to have your APA citations. Consider how to engage others with questions or insight, and then substantive follow-up to enhance that class dialogue, usually sometime after Thursday. But if others have posted before then, you can post your second or third, so get on there and post throughout the week is really kind of what we want to do. But view it as a discussion, all right? We're going to be kind, we're going to be polite, we're going to be respectful, we're not going to call names or other things like that in here. We're going to be in a very respectful way. Now, on your assignments, on the syllabus, you saw quizzes. Quizzes and tests have time limits. All right? So you're going to want to do some study before you get to that limit or, that quiz or that test. It's online. You think we're not aware that you can use a textbook? That's fine, But if you're going to depend on a textbook in a 30-minute quiz that's going to require you to answer quickly, then it may be very difficult to finish that quiz in time. One question at a time. The quizzes, and the test will happen one question at a time. Only one chance to submit the answer. When you hit that submit button, that's your answer. I'm sorry, so be careful and be sure that that's your answer before you submit. No changing answers once they're submitted. The system won't allow you. Correct answers are going to be shown on Monday after the quiz. I will go in there and I will review every single question. You will have it auto-graded and you may get a response before I get a chance to look at it, all right? Because it'll usually flag that sometime during the week over at midnight on Sunday or something like that. So I may not have looked at it yet, but I will go in there and look at every single answer that somebody has made and make sure, because sometimes it's a fill in the blank and somebody uses a plural form in the word instead of singular, and so they get it wrong. All of that stuff is going to be okay, all right? So wait until Monday after I've had a chance to review. I will post on your quiz. I will post that I have, it's been reviewed, all right? So, but if you have questions after that, please feel free to ask, all right? You learn by asking about things that you may have missed on the test. So what do? Let's have a great semester, all right? Engage, all right? Listen to others. No better thing that we can do is listen. Try to understand where somebody is coming from. You may be sitting down talking to somebody from England and they think that, America was a rebellious country. But listen to their perspective. Hear what they have to say. Somebody who's coming from a position of oppression, maybe people that are immigrants or maybe somebody whose ethnicity they have experienced a significant amount of oppression here in America. One of the best things we can do is sit down and listen to those individuals and hear their perspective. Maybe it will shape how we think too. I think the word empathy would be good to insert here, that we truly try to understand where others are coming from. And so then when we interact, we're going to try to interact with accurate historical evidence, all right? And then we're going to share our well-informed opinions. We're going to have opinions, we're going to have perspectives, and so we're going to share that, okay? And so I'm here to help you. Here's my email. The course, best thing to do is email in the class, because in that class it also sends me an email here. But for some reason, if you just need to use my email, there it is. Feel free to call me, text me, whatever. If you text me, you're going to have to let me know, hey, this is so-and-so from this particular class. Office hours are going to be typically Tuesday and Thursday evenings. I teach other classes on Monday and Wednesday night from 7 to 10, so I won't be available then. And I also have a day job. So anyway, but during the day I'll be able to check email and some other things too. I'll be able to check in. So anyhow, but if you attempt to contact me through the course email system, but feel free to reach out as needed, okay? So anyhow, that said, I'm looking forward to having a great semester, all right? I am very excited about these opportunities that you have and that we have to be involved with as a class together. And each class is unique. Each class has its own DNA, and so let's just have a great semester. All right. Thank you very much. I will be seeing you as the weeks go on.